This episode of the Nocturnal Disney Podcast is brought to you by Palms and Parks. They are high-quality t-shirts and tank tops that have cool, fun designs that help show off your love for Disney in a unique and smart way. Visit them at palmsandparks.com and check out what their store has to offer. There's something there for everyone. Welcome, foolish listeners, to the Nocturnal Disney Podcast. I am your host, your show host. Is this show's time bar actually stretching? Or is it your imagination? And consider this dismaying observation. There's no skip or rewind button. Which offers this chilling challenge. To find a way out of the Nocturnal Disney Podcast. Thank you for joining us for episode number 38 of the long-awaited Nocturnal Disney Podcast. My name is Brice. I'm here with my buddy Chris. Admin.
Hello, everybody. It's been way too freaking long.
Tell me about it. You canceled on me last week.
That's true. To be fair, though, you quit for a while. It's been like...
I did.
For a while. So what was the solution then?
This, where I go ahead and do like little tidbit episodes called the Nocturnal Disney Podcast, Twilight Thoughts.
Right. And
then you and I come in here twice a month instead of 4 times a month.
Right.
Scheduling, man, can be a hassle. Dude, I'm trying to set up a trivia night with some other hosts from podcasts or Disney.
Right.
It's been very difficult to get everybody on board for the same night.
Just me and you on the same podcast, it's hard getting our schedules in order to get any of that crap down. But to be fair, the new stuff you got going on your other podcast is pretty cool, though.
You like that?
Pretty short and to the point.
That's what I was hoping for. Keep it in, get out. It's like guerrilla podcasting.
Right. I mean, it could be better.
Oh, ouch.
It could be better.
How so?
I don't know. I think you're missing somebody.
Man, would you come on the podcast?
All right.
In any case, enough of that. We are here to talk about a number of different things. We're going to talk about how Endgame finally beat out Avatar at the box office. We're going to talk about Hall H, because that was a huge thing that happened this past week. We're going to talk about Oga's Cantina.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about a delightful woman that I never want to meet from Chicago. But enough about that. Let's just jump into it.
All right, let's go.
Okay. So, Chris, it was speculated for a long time. Dude, Endgame is going to crush the Avatar record. Maybe $4 billion. Maybe $4 billion, which that's insane.
Well, that's because it started strong.
It started huge.
Yeah.
It started very big, and then it just kind of petered off, like as you would expect it to, because everyone's seen it.
You can only see it so many times. I mean...
It was a 3-hour movie. It was long.
Yeah, I mean, you had to really, really invest some time into that. I know you did.
I saw it 3 times opening weekend, and I was like, okay, I need a bit of a break.
But you want to understand something, though? Like, to me, that's crazy, because that's not just 3 hours. That's like, you got to count in, like...
Oh, that doesn't
the previews and
exactly.
all that crap.
Getting to the theater, getting your seat.
But I will say, anybody comes up to you and says, hey, I've seen a movie 3 times in a theater, that's nothing crazy. I've heard of people going back like 6, 7, 8, 9 times.
What movie did you see the most in theaters?
I think it was Avatar.
Was it Avatar?
Yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph.
I mean, Avatar was going on forever, so.
Avatar ran for months and months and months. It was craziness. Yeah. Be that as it may, Avengers finally just kind of limped over the threshold and said, we're the number 1 box office of the movies.
Right.
Which, good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah. I mean, was it something that you were invested in? Did you really care about it at all?
No.
Neither did I.
Not at all. I kind of liked, like, if I had to pick which one I would rather, I like the idea of Avatar having the more bigger box office just because it was a one-off movie.
For now,
but I'm just saying at the time it was an original thought with original ideas. This is, you can argue that it's for one thing that it's really not just one movie. It's a culmination of 22 films, at the very least 2.
And you know what?
So
that film, Endgame, was definitely one of the movies that did not stand on its own. Like, if you didn't see any of the other ones, any of them, none of it made sense.
And I like the idea of just like an original kind of movie,
sure.
one-off being the one. But hey, it's been 22 movies, man.
Exactly.
You know, did I think it would even get close to Avatar's numbers? No, but it did. So good job. Just another more money in Disney's pocket, I guess.
Dude, speaking of more money in Disney's pocket, Marvel has dropped 23 movies, right? Since its inception with Iron Man, now up to Endgame. Up to Far From Home. Right? If you take all of the money that they have made from all of those movies, each film has brought in over $1 billion.
Oh, I bet.
That's nuts, man.
Mm-hmm. They're averaging $1 billion a movie. I mean,
exactly.
At this point, it's just ridiculous. They're just printing the money, and it's just not fair.
But at the same time, I really feel like that does speak to the quality of these movies, because aside from like 2 or 3 of them, they've all been pretty solid movies.
It's a soap opera, man. It is what draws you in. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a soap opera. It's they built up the perfect universe where they constantly keep teasing you at the end. You know? Right. So it makes you want to go back.
Exactly. And good for them, man. Like, I really do enjoy reading comics. And so to see that same type of storytelling be put into movies, I'm there for it, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Good
just to see these characters grow and have arcs over so many movies. They can take their time with the characters, they can massage the characters, they get them where they need them to be. And that makes for better movies and better characters and all that. You know what I'm saying? And instead of saying, okay, we got 2 hours to just cram everything into this one movie, and then that's it. That's what you got. You know?
Well, that kind of goes into the Hall H thing then.
Dude, Hall H was nuts.
Yeah.
Like, what came out that hit you the most? Like, you're like, oh, yes, I cannot wait.
I really don't know. I like the idea of the shows being after Avengers Endgame. I like that. I'm more. I want to see the shows more than I want to see the newest, the movies that they had slated.
Yeah, the only movie that I was really interested in is more so, I think, because I was like, oh, wow, I didn't see that one coming, was Blade.
Yeah.
Like, Blade is
really... Well, yeah, no one saw that coming.
No.
But to be fair, though, just as crazy was Natalie Portman with a hammer.
I don't even want to talk about that.
Like, that is just as crazy as Blade.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That really upsets me.
Taika Waititi's coming back, right? So
yes.
He's the director. He did such a good job with Thor Ragnarok.
He did.
But my God, Natalie Portman is terrible in these movies.
She is the worst part aside from Kat Dennings.
Yeah. And when it's weird because she's not a bad actress. She's an Academy Award winning actress.
She's great. But my God, is she not believable? And she went to what? Princeton?
I don't know.
She went to a big Ivy League school. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
But she's a smart person. She is a smart individual, but dear Lord, does she not pull off the I'm a professor.
I'm a scientist.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't. And then the chemistry between them two just felt off sometimes.
Sometimes it never worked at all.
Right.
In my opinion,
I'm just trying to be nice about it. And then the thing that kind of, which I know is going to be touchy for people, but it's like the whole, they're going to make her Thor. And
I didn't like that.
then, I know this wasn't at Hall H, or at least I don't think it was, but it was Scarlett Johansson coming out saying that Marvel they're going to be focusing a lot of
the future is
female, and it's just, I not hating on women, I just was never into those comics, and I never found them interesting or appealing in any sense.
There were a lot of people though, like.
I know there is an audience.
There was an audience, to be sure, but I went back and looked at the sales records of Thor, the one where Jane Foster becomes Thor.
Yeah.
And it opened at number 3. The third week, it was at number 5, but it ran for 14 weeks, and it never got above number 3. And then once it hit number 5, it never got above there again. Because in the second week, it went to number 6. Yeah. So it wasn't real, like it wasn't panned by any means. It wasn't not selling, but it wasn't flying off the shelves either.
Yeah, and it's really weird that that's the direction that they're deciding to go. Again, not that women can't be important. It's just
not. That's what I'm saying at all.
Yeah, no. It's just if you have it goes into, if you want a good character, make some good characters. Give us some.
Right. Why aren't they bringing in a She-Hulk? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because have you seen Spider-Man Far From Home?
No, not yet.
All right. Well, the post-credit scene, Peter Parker could really use a good lawyer.
Okay.
That's what She-Hulk is. She is a lawyer with the powers of Hulk.
Right.
Like, bring her in. Why not?
You got tons of girls in the Marvel Universe that are not taking up the Thor mantle, the Iron Man mantle, the Captain America mantle, whatever. Just let the dudes do the dudes thing, let the girls be the girl thing. We're talking about that. We can talk about Black Widow's movie.
I'm very excited about that.
And then I think they cast or they have Taskmaster as the
Taskmaster's going to be,
which is pretty cool.
I am so excited about that. I really like the Taskmaster character.
Yeah.
I have no idea how Natasha is going to beat him.
Me neither.
Me neither. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I can't wait.
Yeah.
And so, let me ask you this question. Do you want to see Hawkeye in that movie?
I honestly don't care. I would say no, because this is is this an origin story or is this a future?
I don't know if this is an origin story or not. I thought it was supposed to take place during that 5 years between Endgame and Infinity War.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure where it's taking place.
Right.
If it is, it makes sense not to have Hawkeye in there, obviously.
For
and
reasons.
Then if it's in the and the thing is, if it's like a much earlier prequel about her, growing up or whatever. Yeah, it makes sense not to have Hawkeye in there either. Like let her movie be standalone.
Well, Hawkeye was the one who brought her into the Avengers.
Right. No, I'm just thinking like it would be a cool idea to kind of see a Natasha that, doesn't have that heroic that to be a heroine, like where she's just a straight up killer.
Yeah, I think that would be
so.
Really
to answer your question about Taskmaster, maybe she's just kind of holding back a little bit. Maybe I don't know, but yeah. I mean, I don't see Hawkeye being in the movie, but that's really not that important though. So
I'm also kind of curious how they're going to pull off Taskmaster in the movie, because in the comics, his costume is freaking awesome.
Yeah,
his costume is really.
He's
cool.
one of the cooler costumes
in the comics.
Yeah,
it would not translate.
Well, they showed. Did you see the artwork for it?
No.
Yeah, they showed the artwork for it. Definitely not a skull. More of like an Iron Man sleek sort of look.
Right.
The colors are there though. You like if you
the blue and white.
Like it's better than what's his name in Civil War. Than that's for dang sure. I forgot his name. Zemo. There you go. It's 100 times better. Yeah, they didn't even try with that. At least here you're like, okay. Like they say this is Taskmaster, you're like, okay, I can see that's Taskmaster. Right. Just like Crossbones, you know what I'm saying? It's not 100% there, but you're like, oh, that's in this universe I can believe it.
But also his power, you know what I'm saying? Like he sees somebody do something once and then he can immediately replicate it. So how do you translate that visually?
Well, would it be interesting? Kind of like how I said, he kind of has like a suit on. Like, it kind of looks like an Iron Man suit. So, I mean, yeah, you can go the traditional way of like, hey, this is just a natural power I have, which is cool because that's what the comics are, and I'd be fine with that.
Right.
But another way you can go with it is like he stole like a prototype of Tony Stark's suit or something.
But
and the cool thing about
Taskmaster then,
I don't know, because he's a cool villain.
He is a cool villain, but if you strip away everything that makes him cool, then you're just left with a villain.
Hey, I'm giving you an idea
That's
of
true.
Maybe, okay? Maybe they just kind of giving him that. Because in the Civil War comic, what's really cool is you find out, like, with Iron Man's suit, like, he understands all of Captain America's moves, which is why he was able to beat him, because his suit, like, every move that Captain America ever threw, it, like, all recorded in the file. So, like, the idea of a suit kind of doing all your fighting for you is pretty interesting, you know?
Totally agree. You know what I really have just no interest in that came out of Hall H is WandaVision.
WandaVision, yeah.
I don't know why, because I really like Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Paul Bettany playing Vision, I think is great.
Yeah.
I have zero interest in it.
I just really, they're hard to grab onto.
A little
They
bit.
serve the purpose of to me, they're there in the movie because they have to serve a purpose. But emotionally, I've never been invested in Vision or Scarlet Witch at all.
Right. The other thing I want to know is, how is Vision coming back? The Mind Stone is gone, right?
Right.
And Vision was destroyed in Infinity War. Who rebuilds him? Because Tony didn't rebuild him in the 5 years that he could have, and leading up to Endgame. So, where's he coming from?
I don't know.
Especially since this show is all happening after Endgame.
Well, you got to remember, what was another movie that they announced? It was a Doctor Strange movie, and in that movie, you're going to have Scarlet Witch teaming up with Doctor Strange.
Right, but that is coming out directly after WandaVision, and WandaVision leads up to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is an awesome name.
Yeah.
It makes me very happy to just say it.
Sounds crazy, yeah.
I don't know how well they're going to do it. I was really hoping that this whole bit with Mysterio and Far From Home, and then like, oh yeah, it's the multiverse. I hope that was kind of squashed, no pun intended, but apparently it's not. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Marvel never has consequences in it anyway.
Yeah.
So now if you have a multiverse, then you really don't have consequences.
Which to me is the biggest part of these movies. For me, you know, it's just that the consequences just aren't there. You know what I'm saying? And it's very hard.
Sure.
Hopefully from here on out, they can start raising the stakes up a little bit, you know? And I know you're saying, dude, we just had Avengers Endgame, and I'm saying I know, but that took 22 movies to have some major crap happen.
It took 22 movies, and we really only lost two characters.
Exactly.
One because he stepped away, and the other one because he was like, I have to do
one
this or else I'm going to
died
destroy the planet.
Where you're like, okay, yeah, it was emotional, but you knew the actor was like, I've had 22 movies. I'm good. I'm ready to go. And then our same thing arguably can be for Natasha. So whatever.
You know what? I forgot that she died in that. I forgot that she died. And so we had 3. Okay, there you go. But I think that tells you that didn't have quite the impact that you thought it was going to.
Yep, there you go.
But in any case, let's move on from WandaVision and the Hall H panel into Spider-Man. Spider-Man Far From Home. Dude, it's slaying. Like, it's a really good movie. I saw it and I really, really enjoyed it. I know I was going to see it a second time, but I never ended up getting to the theater to do it. I think Jamie ended up saying it twice.
Is it? It's almost at $1 billion, isn't it?
Dude, it is sitting at $979 million. Last week at the box office, it made $21 million. If you figure anywhere between a 30 and 50% drop-off, which is typical, 2 or 3 weeks, and it's sitting at $1 billion.
It's crazy to think that like Marvel has like 2 $3 billion movies just kind of chilling in the box office together right now.
Oh yeah, dude.
With the Avengers Endgame and then Spider-Man.
Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel ended up being $1 billion $1 billion movie.
Yeah.
Aladdin, which we're going to talk about here in a minute,
Mm-hmm.
I just talk about it now. That's probably going to hit $1 billion.
Yeah.
Because that's at $990 million.
Yeah. That's huge.
It's massive, dude. Lion King opened with $500 million
That's insane.
going into this second weekend, right?
Yeah.
Its opening weekend wasn't that much, but between this opening weekend and this following week, over $500 million.
If you had to guess between Aladdin right now and Lion King, who do you think is going to make the most money in their final run right now?
I think it's going to be Lion King, but by just like a little bit.
Okay.
Because...
Think it'll crawl?
Yeah, I think it'll crawl over it because I don't think neither one of those movies critics liked. Lion King got destroyed. Destroyed on Rotten Tomatoes.
Half at the very least. It's kind of split. It's at
52% right now.
Right.
That's rough, man.
Yeah.
But it's sitting at an 89% audience rating.
Right.
Which, okay, I get it. I went and saw it opening night. I went and saw it that opening Thursday, and I liked it, and I'll get into my review in it in a little bit here. But you know what? I can understand why some critics wouldn't like it that much.
Right.
But man, 52%?
Really?
Okay,
when you mean don't like it, do you mean don't like some things or the whole movie?
No.
And that's kind of weird, you know?
It is.
It's very strange because I was super pumped coming into this movie. Now, you've seen it. I haven't seen it up to this point.
Right.
I think it's fair to say we should have a little bit of discussion on this Rotten Tomatoes then.
Let's go.
Okay, so what is your view on Rotten Tomatoes? Do you think it's something that is important? Do you think it should be happening? Do you think that should be released like before a movie comes out like it is now? You know, because like I'm just saying for me, it's very hard to judge an art form, which is exactly what movies are, right?
Exactly.
And we're being told by a couple hundred critics, some, major critics, some your whatever critics, and then you got your audience critic. Everyone is a critic.
Sure.
But apparently there are some people whose opinion matter more than others, apparently, which is interesting and I've always found that the same thing with like food reviews. You know what I'm saying? Like if you grabbed 100 people, 200-300 people, and told them, hey, what's your favorite type of food? Does that really show the vast majority's view on something?
No, and that's why I like Rotten Tomatoes. Okay. Is Rotten Tomatoes important? I mean, in a sense, because what they do is really, really cool, actually, because you don't have people going and writing reviews for Rotten Tomatoes specifically. You have professional movie critics go out, see the movie, and then they give you their thoughts on the movie, right?
Right.
On their own blog or videos or podcasts, whatever.
Yeah.
And then what Rotten Tomatoes does is they take all of those reviews and compile them into one number.
Right.
And it's a yes, go see it, no, don't go see it. Like that's how they rank them.
Right.
So it's not like an A to F ranking, whatever. It's either yes or no.
Yeah.
And then they had audience ratings, and the audience ratings used to be a disaster.
Well, isn't it still like the case that you can just get on there and vote as many times as you want?
No.
No?
No. You have to upload a photo of your ticket through Fandango, because Fandango and Rotten Tomatoes, they're one.
Right.
And you have to upload the ticket, so proof that you've seen the movie. And then I guess there's some number that they're able to read on the ticket that allows them to say, hey, this person is the one who saw the movie, not, hey, here's my ticket.
Right.
Go ahead and take a picture of it and write a review.
Right.
So they're getting better.
Okay.
Because that needed to get better. I mean,
but then don't you think that it's weird though that like you got critics who you're saying are top critics, and then you got just me and you.
Right.
that, you know, like we want to write a review. How is there such a vast difference in between what you would say is people that are being paid to do this, being, you know, they're top critics for a reason. They get these press release, you know, like they get to go to these movies early.
Sure.
And a lot of, and you know, while they made, like, you know, this movie with Lion King, it made a crap ton of money opening weekend, right?
Oh, yeah.
But they do have the power to sway a lot of people, because I know that I talked to people who were like, yeah, I was going to see it that Friday, but I saw the audience scores, so I'm like, I'll wait. You know, like,
right.
I'll wait. I'll wait to talk to my friend, or I'll wait till next weekend. You know, rather than being like, I'm going to be there opening night, that changes your week for a week to the next week, or even to waiting for it to come out, you know, on iTunes or something.
Yeah, man. Like Mike, the owner of the studio that we record this podcast in, he came up to me. He's like, Brice, did you see Lion King yet? I said, yep, went and saw it tonight. He goes, what did you think of it? And I said, it's all right. He goes, all right, then I'm going to wait till next week to go see it.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Like,
it's just such a weird thing, because me and you growing up, we had video stores, right? We had Blockbuster, we had the Camelot aisles over there.
Sure.
You didn't have reviews. You walked in, and I know it's a completely different time, but it was just so interesting being able to walk into a video store, look at something, the cover, read who the actors are on the back, and just be like, okay, I'm taking this one. And you never viewed it as like, I'm taking a chance. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm so scared to go home with this because what does the world think? So you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you went home, you watched it. Many years later now, there are many beloved movies that people tear apart that, you know, view as garbage. You know what I'm saying?
I'll never forgive Klein for his review of Mystery Men.
Oh, no. Klein should be put to death for that.
Roast him.
Yes.
Look, I think there were definitely reviews back then. You had people like Roger and Ebert and stuff like that.
You had to go out of your way to get it, to find them, though.
Right, exactly. And they had TV shows and whatnot. They had their news articles, so on and so forth. It is just much more prevalent now with the internet.
Okay.
The internet has made it so much easier not only to get a critic's voice out there, but just to get your own opinion out there. I mean, we're doing a podcast.
Right.
You and I decided one day, hey, I like Disney. You like Disney. You want to talk about Disney for like an hour and a half every other week? Yeah. Cool. Get a computer, couple mics, boom, off and running. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
Very, very easy. And if you're doing written content on the internet, freaking easy. All you need is a computer.
Yeah.
You don't even need a keyboard. A lot of computers can type on the screen. It's ridiculous.
It's hilarious because some of the people that I seen complaining about The Lion King, there was one dude, he ruined my childhood. Okay, why? Beyonce was terrible.
Yo, hey, for real though, she was.
Like, okay, Beyonce was terrible. But I mean, the fact that people can say, you know, it ruined my childhood, it's like,
it's absurd because it's still there.
It's still very much there.
Right,
and I highly doubt these. Listen, me and you love Disney. We're having a podcast on it. We talk about their animated movies a lot. When was the last time we, though, honestly, sat down, watched The Lion King, and, you know,
2 weeks ago,
and just been like, oh yeah, this is great. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we watch it every single day? You know, because, you know, most people are like, you ruined my childhood. It's like,
right.
You're not sitting there every single day, every, you know, a couple times a week. I defy you 6 months you go by and you probably have not seen The Lion King. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. I did watch it 2 weeks ago, but
right.
Before then.
Yeah, when was the last time you watched it?
Before the 2 weeks ago, not very
exactly.
often.
It was just a memory from a year, 2, could 3 years have gone by, maybe? Maybe. But you remember in your head, you're like, this is great.
No, dude, I completely understand what you're saying. There were parts of...
I guess the thing is that I got beef with people who have... You know what? Maybe I just shouldn't get into it. Because all I'm saying is that I get what you're saying. From you're having people come out, give their opinion. Here's my 2 cents. I just kind of get annoyed that there's only it's very small. You know what I'm saying? And that can change a movie. And for people who don't know better, that can change whether or not what they do that weekend. You know,
sure.
And that changes a movie, and that changes the box office. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's not by like massive. It's not like it would have done Avengers money, like that weekend or something.
Oh, absolutely not.
No, but I'm just saying it does have a sway.
You're right. It does have a sway. Here's the thing. I have a list, so it doesn't hurt me too bad. But when I went to go see Endgame, right? Me and Jamie went to Estero, went to IMAX, as $15 a ticket. So for me and her to go, it was $32.75 with tax or something like that to go see this movie, right?
Right.
You're walking in. You're just going to go see the movie? Nah, you're going to go and get popcorn and drink. Popcorn and drink, that's another $15.
Easy.
So already you're 45 for flirting with maybe $50.
Oh yeah. It's an investment.
It's an investment to go to the movie. Now, going back to your comment about renting a movie. Renting a movie wasn't that big of a deal. It was $3. Here you go. I'll be back in 2 days and give you the movie back. This is maybe $50 for two people to go to the movie. Now, Is that all you're going to do? Probably not. You're probably going to go get dinner after that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that shouldn't factor into the movie aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can save half of $100, because I was going to say, hey, let's go see movie A.
Yeah.
But a movie critic told me, who I agree with 90% of the time, that movie sucks. I'm not going to go see that movie.
Yeah.
That's why I think...
Well, what I find kind of interesting, though, is that our circles are pretty small. Mm-hmm. Whether they're our friends or they are other critics that we kind of go... They're not major critics or anything, but they're critics that we kind of go, hey, for the most part, I agree with them.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times it's been where it's like my little circle and almost those critics all kind of agree for the most part on what a movie is, but it's far different than what we hear from the major critics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, I really like watching the Schmoes Know Show.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Schmoes Know Show anymore. It used to be, but,
right.
Christian and Mark. I really like John Campea,
mm-hmm.
Robert Meyer Burnett. And most of the time, I agree with their review of the movie.
Right.
Going into Lion King, I listened to John Campea. He said, movie is fantastic. I loved it.
Did you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score going into the...
Oh, yeah.
To the movie?
Yeah, I did, because I was curious. It wasn't going to sway me because I know,
Does it at the very... I know it's not going to sway you because we're going in going, I know we have the Lion King at home. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter whether this movie is great or not. But it's still a little bit like there's no hesitant in you going like, well, okay, like half like this movie and half don't.
No, it didn't bother me for one reason.
Mm.
It was Aladdin.
Mm.
When Aladdin came out, it got pilloried.
Yeah.
It was right now, I believe it's at 58% on Rotten Tomatoes. If I'm correct, I don't remember. But
what about Maleficent,
Chris? Oh, we're going to talk about Maleficent. Don't you worry. But
right.
Aladdin, dude, it got destroyed. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh no. Because I was genuinely excited for Aladdin. Dude, I had my ticket to go up to Orlando to go see it in Dolby. And I was like, oh, please be good. Please be good. Please be good.
Yeah.
And I went and saw it, and I freaking loved it. And I'm like, what did they see?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you go to the audience reviews of that movie, you see that.
It's just so weird to see such a big disconnect, from the major critics to the average audience. It's like, what are we grading it on differently than they are?
Right. And,
it's just very interesting, I just find it interesting,
And the thing that I saw a lot with Aladdin that I saw repeated with The Lion King is it's the same movie. It's the same movie.
Yeah.
Of course it is. It's Aladdin.
Yeah.
It's The Lion King.
Yeah.
If I went and it's like, oh, you know what? I want to go watch Jurassic Park, the remake of Jurassic Park, and then you had Marlon Brando in there doing The Godfather, I'd be pissed. Like,
yeah.
like, listen, John Hammond was outdated. He needed to be a little more cutting edge. I'd be like, that's not the movie, though. Yeah. Like, you said, I want to make Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Make Jurassic Park. And so when they're like, it's The Lion King. Correct.
Yeah, and that's my point. Like, that, it's just really weird to see the just disconnect and how I think we grade movies. I think for being such a weird, hyper-violent society, for the most part with movies, we're for the most part, we're pretty chill with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're willing to just be like, oh yeah, The Lion King. Yeah, it was okay. It was good.
Yeah.
You know?
And honestly, like, I'll just get into it really quick. That's where I fall on The Lion King.
Okay.
Like, I didn't love it. I wanted to love it because I loved The Lion King.
Okay.
It was okay.
All right.
I don't like Beyonce's music. Mm-hmm. And that was probably the biggest problem I had with it.
Was there a lot of her original music in there?
There was one song that she sang. I think it's called Soulless or something. The Soul. It's played over the time when Simba is running from the jungle with Timon and Pumbaa back to the Pride Land to confront Scar. Right? The song sucks. Like, it's not a good song.
All right.
It is not a good song. Do you remember how nice and how appropriate the song Speechless fit into Aladdin? Yeah, it was worse than that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was rough.
Jeez.
So that song was really bad.
Okay.
I've never loved the song Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Mm-hmm.
It's a decent song. The thing that I don't like about Beyonce's music is that she oversins a lot. She's like, yep, I'm the diva. I'm the one who's awesome. That's why you have me, because I can sing really well.
You know it's Beyonce and you don't hear the music.
Right. But she oversins. Like, she has, same thing with like Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears didn't do it too much, but Christina Aguilera and Beyonce do it a lot.
Okay.
Going on runs. It's not appropriate for the song.
Right.
Because you have Childish Gambino over here singing the song the way that it's meant to be sung, and then you have Beyonce going on all these like high-pitched runs and stuff. It sounded weird.
Yeah.
And it didn't fit the song.
Yeah, they're just trying to make it change a little bit, not for the better.
That's the thing, man. Change it, fine, but change it for the better. And it just didn't fit. And her original song for that movie did not fit at all. Especially when you go and think about the fact, hey, Disney, a number of years ago, put out The Lion King on Broadway. And when they sent Simba from the jungle back to the Pride Land, they had a song play. And it is a much better song than this. It just didn't fit. It, like I said, it fit The Lion King exactly as good as Speechless fit into Aladdin.
So they didn't have Be Prepared in the movie. Was that...
That's incorrect.
Okay.
Kind of.
Okay. Well, I heard that he has a song.
Yes.
It's not like Be Prepared, right?
It's Be Prepared.
Really?
Esque.
Yeah.
Okay. It's Be Prepared. It is the same lyrics as Be Prepared. You have Scar talking to the hyenas, getting into it. He got into the song much more smoothly in this remake than he did in the original.
Okay.
And that's where my praise for the song ends.
All right.
Dude, okay, Jeremy Irons in the original Be Prepared spoke most of the song. He's not a great singer. Right. And even at the end when he does end up having to sing, Jim Cummins, Darkwing Duck, Winnie the Pooh, he comes in and sings the rest of the song.
Yeah.
And if you're not looking for it, you'll miss it entirely. But if you know where it switches, you're like, oh my God, it really does switch.
Yeah.
They should have done that with this, because I can't for the life of me think of who
he just didn't do that well, huh?
It was awful.
No goose-stepping hyenas, though?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
No, that was a cool scene.
Although the one thing I do think that they did better with this than they did in the original, because you have the hyenas goose-stepping in the original, and they're just playing the instruments, right?
Right.
Well, in this one...
Well, you had a volcano erupting, which was metal.
It was really cool. It was really cool. But in this one, it was much more subtle, right? So Scar is getting into it, and you're like, oh, is this be prepared? It is be prepared.
Okay.
And then the hyenas are really quietly chanting, be prepared, be prepared, be prepared, and it's eerie. Mm-hmm. It's really cool. That I really liked.
Okay.
There's one sentence in this song where Scar says something to the effect of, and then I will be king. And he hits king rough. Yeah. Like, his voice cracks. It sounded like he died in the booth.
Okay, so now that we're talking about the song, how was Scar though? How was he in the movie? Was he a good Scar?
He was fine. He was fine.
Better or worse than Jafar, as far as a villain wise, to you?
Personally,
because I know you like Jafar.
I did, and I like Jafar more than I like this Scar. The problem was, I think, with a lot of this movie, because I went to see it with a bunch of my friends, right? And everyone was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to see Mufasa get trampled. It's going to be rough. It's going to be so sad."
Yeah.
Now, this movie is a shot-for-shot remake of the original. We already talked about that. But it doesn't go line for line, right? Like, they didn't say,
right,
here's the script for the 1994 Lion King. Let's go ahead and remake it. They rewrote it, and they left a couple things out. In my opinion, the worst, most gut-wrenching sentence of that scene where Mufasa dies is where Simba comes up to him and goes, "Come on, Dad.
Wake up.
Wake up. We got to go home."
Yeah.
They cut it out.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, fine. If you wanted to do that, I get it, I suppose. But for me, that was the worst part. That was like where it really hit
Jonathan
home.
Taylor Thomas, man.
Yeah, he did a good job.
He did great.
The problem was that the animals, for the most part, didn't have any expression on their face. They didn't show any emotion. And because
I think that's the problem when you try to go live action. I'm saying that with air quotes right now because it is CGI, but that's the problem when you're trying to go for like as real as you can get.
Right. But they gave the animals in Jungle Book emotion, and it worked.
So you're talking about the animals, how they look. Does it look as good as Jungle Book animals, or is it similar? No, it doesn't look as good.
No. It doesn't look as good. It looks way better.
Wow.
Dude, visually, this movie is absolutely incredible.
Wow.
It is a step up in graphics, similar to the way there was a step up in 3D with Avatar. If you go to this movie, I was watching a review of The Lion King, and he said that Jon Favreau had come out at their screening and said, there is one shot in this movie that is real. Everything else is computer generated. Find it. I dare you. And so I heard that before I went to go see the movie. I'm like, I'm going to find it. Mm-hmm. Not a freaking chance. Not a chance.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Visually, it was amazing. The acting was fine. Mm-hmm. Beyonce didn't bother me nearly as much when she acted as I thought she was going to.
Okay. She didn't ruin the movie or anything.
No.
I mean, you had some problems, but
those songs.
It's not a deal breaker.
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't know. I am very middle of the road on The Lion King.
Okay, so now is it in your top 5 of the remakes?
No. I would put Aladdin, Jungle Book, the first Alice in Wonderland. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people don't like that movie. Mm-hmm. I freaking love it.
Yeah, a lot of people really don't like that movie. I'm with you. I really like it. Yeah, I saw it like 3 times in theaters.
It's very wacky. It's fun.
It's nuts. Yeah.
Cinderella, I think, is a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it sneaks in.
Yeah, I guess it would.
Because it would be like Maleficent and
Dumbo.
And Dumbo, yeah.
Yeah, no, it would be number 5. Yeah. It would be number 5, but
that's crazy because like out of all these movies, it's like
Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, and Beauty and the Beast.
I liked Beauty and the Beast more than Lion King.
Okay. Because like out of all these movies, it's like, okay, the ones you gotta stick: Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King. And if you told me of those 3, which one do you think Disney would just nail? Like, hit it out of the park? Lion King. Like, to me, yes, that's animals talking. Like, that's their thing. Like, that's it.
It's their bread and butter.
Yep. And the fact that this movie came out with half of the, you know, like there being a pretty big split as far as the critics goes, it's kind of crazy to me, you know?
I agree.
Well, okay, so how would you recommend it? Would you recommend people to go see it? Would you recommend me to go to the theaters and see it? Let's say maybe tomorrow.
Look, man, if you wanted to go see The Lion King, if you like The Lion King, honestly, I'd say watch the Blu-ray.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd say watch the Blu-ray. The songs, it just doesn't have the same punch as the original, and I feel like the original was not expected to do well. And I know that for a fact because it was The Lion King and Pocahontas were both being made at the same time. Like, Lion King is going to be, you know, pushed off to the back. Pocahontas is going to be our big Oscar movie.
Oh, how wrong they were.
Right? And so I feel like the animators and the storytellers were like, oh, we'll show you. Uh-huh. And they went and just crushed it. But they also went full out. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You have scenes where Timon and Pumbaa are singing Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And then it ends like, wah. And that worked because it was a cartoon. Mm-hmm. And they don't do that in this remake, which is good because it wouldn't have worked. But they go all out.
It's hilarious because I'm working with, you know, I have some construction workers that I work with, right? We're doing flooring and stuff. And there's the guy that I work for and his son is 16. And the arguments that I hear from Cape Coral to Naples about Lion King because they all saw it as a family, like all went out Friday. They were like, we're going to see it because his wife wanted to see it, his daughter wanted to see it, his son wanted it, everyone. They made a huge family thing. Came back and it was split.
Yeah.
You know, which was kind of hilarious. The dad came in. It was okay. Yeah. Like, you know, I like the cartoon. The son was just like, no. This new movie is amazing. I kind of wanted to turn back and slap him in the face because then he started talking about how bad the cartoons look and how dumb it looked, and I was just like, "Oh,
that's ridiculous."
Okay, hang on. Like I'm driving and I'm just had to calm down. But yeah, it is really weird how this movie has split people.
It is, but there are good things about it, and there are bad. Like it's deserving of being split.
Yeah.
Zazu, Timon, and Pumbaa in this new one are fantastic.
Yeah.
I like Zazu in this movie more than I like him in the original, and I really liked him in the original.
Yeah.
I just thought John Oliver did a great job as Zazu. Cool. But then you have the gentleman playing Scar, and I wish I knew who he was. I can't think of him. Yeah. But him playing Scar, it was okay.
Well, I'm sure if he crushed it, you would have remembered his name.
Exactly.
So
I don't know.
You would recommend to wait it out.
Yeah, if you saw this movie, if you're like, hey, you flipping through Disney Plus, you know what, The Lion King, you want to check it out, baby? Yeah, let's watch it. You're not going to be pissed. You're not going to be upset. And if you caught it at a matinee, you're like, I got nothing to do tonight, let's go kill some time. I could see that. But if you're rushing out to go see the movie,
not really.
It's not going to blow your socks off.
And watch them crush it with Mulan.
I hope so, because the trailer looked awesome.
Looked crazy.
It really does.
And that's not having Mushu in it.
I know. Or any songs. But you know what? They do use the songs from the original movie as like overture and score.
Oh, that's cool.
And it works so well.
Yeah.
Like when they were showing her at the dinner table with her father and her mother and her family, and they're talking about, oh, this is what you need to do, Mulan. This is what we're looking for in a perfect bride. Mm-hmm. They're playing one of the songs.
The very first one? Yeah. With the Matchmaker song?
Yeah, the Matchmaker song. Uh-huh. They're playing that song, and it's very subtle, and you almost don't notice it at first. Then you're like, wait, oh my, this is Mulan.
Oh,
fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Really good.
Yeah, I have high hopes for that movie. I'm really hoping that it crushes.
Now, I've been hearing that there's not going to be Mushu, which I get. I am hearing that there's going to be a phoenix in the movie.
That is interesting.
Right?
Where the heck did that come from?
Well, apparently, it was supposed to have come from the original, and like the original story. which is an epic poem, kind of like Beowulf, right?
Gotcha.
And so I had went online and typed in Mulan original epic poem, and I thought I found it, but there's no mention whatsoever of a phoenix. And so I am really interested about this
version. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're going to keep a mythical creature in the movie, why bring a phoenix in and not just keep Mushu?
I don't know. It really doesn't. How do you feel about that with no Mushu? Are you okay with that? I mean, now with the trailer, after the trailer, I'm feeling like, okay, they don't want to go in that direction. The songs, clearly they don't want to go. I'm cool with that. Like I told you, like the direction that they're going, I'm happy with it because of what I saw in the trailer.
Sure.
But like, if you're telling me that, like just telling me that, it does sound weird.
Oh, it's very weird. And a lot of my friends do not like it.
No.
And as far as like I'm concerned, I don't mind that there's no Mushu, but I'm also watching this trailer and it is cool and I do like it. It doesn't feel like a Disney movie.
No, it doesn't. But that's what I like about it.
Yeah, but if you go back to the 1996 version,
okay,
and you watch the trailer for that, you're like, oh, this is clearly a Disney movie, right? This has the same feel as something like The Lion King, as Aladdin, as Hercules, as Tarzan. Where this, it feels so divorced from everything else.
And that's what I think appeals to me. Like, I think that's really what just makes it stand out. You know what I'm saying? It really makes it pop out a little bit more, you know?
Right.
And that's kind of like what I appreciate with them doing, which that's the draw for me, you know?
Sure.
So
would you like to see them maybe do something a little more serious the way that they're doing like Mulan, with, say, something like
Pocahontas or...
Well,
you know it's going to happen. I'm just saying. You know it's going to happen.
I hope not.
It's going to happen.
Probably is.
Okay, it's going to happen. Just letting you know. And Johnny Depp's going to play an Indian.
You think he would do that again?
No.
But like something like Treasure Planet.
Okay.
Right? Like
They're
Treasure
never
Planet...
going to make that movie. You don't think so? Or you think so? I mean, if they do, I'd be so happy.
I think they're more likely to make a Treasure Planet movie than they are a Sword in the Stone movie, than they are a Black Cauldron movie, than they are a Pocahontas movie.
And Black Cauldron was awesome.
You liked it?
It's just metal, you know? It's really cool.
It's an interesting movie visually.
It's not
boring.
It's not the best. No, it's not the best. There are some really cool sequences, but yeah, it's not the best.
Right. But going back to Mulan, dude, I'm really excited about it. You said you're excited about it.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Now, there was another trailer that played before Mufasa took his final dirt bath in the end of a cauldron. I'm sorry, in the end of a canyon.
They merged the two movies. The Dark Lord threw him into a cauldron.
It was for Maleficent 2.
All right.
Now, look. It is July. Maleficent 2, The Mistress of Evil, comes out in October.
Right in time for your fears, people.
Oh, man. Have you seen this trailer, Chris?
No. I haven't seen the second one. I've seen the first one. I can only imagine what the second one. Walk me through it.
Dude, it's rough.
Yeah?
It's bad. It's really bad. So... the prince from the first one decides, hey, I should marry you, Aurora, because I showed that I had true love for you.
Yeah. Okay.
When he didn't wake her up, which is stupid.
Well, he showed true love by going to her and kissing her while she was sleeping.
Right.
Duh. That's true love.
Sure. Okay. And then so Aurora says yes. And then the crow, Diablo, flies back to Maleficent. And it might be the worst line read. I don't know if it's because it's the trailer and how they cut it together, but it is one of the worst line readings I have ever heard from Angelina Jolie. He's like, the crow flies back. He's like, my lord, I bring news. And the next thing you know, she looks over her shoulder to the right and goes, don't! ruin my day. I'm like, oh my God. It's Angelina Jolie. She's an Oscar winner. What have you done to her?
Yeah.
So, like, that's really bad. Then you have the rest of the trailer where she's interacting with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
And she's, it's just really overacted.
Yeah.
It's really, really not good.
Are you still getting the vibes, like, of the story that they're going to be telling? Like,
oh, yes.
Like, is it still there?
Oh, even worse now.
Okay.
Even worse now when, like, oh, Maleficent is going to appear evil, and then Michelle Pfeiffer is going to look good. And then near the end of the movie, Michelle Pfeiffer is going to be like, I'm actually an evil person. And
she's the
Maleficent's
mistress.
like, I told you. And then, now, I will say, when the flames come up on Maleficent, looks really cool.
I told you.
Dude, look.
What would you pay to have Angelina sing?
I don't know. I'd pay a lot, though. It would be funny.
It kills her, has her head. It's just like, I told you guys.
Dude, speaking of kills her, one of the last shots of this movie, of this trailer, has her falling into the water, and then just something swoop into the water.
Angelina Jolie?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Then something swoops out of the sky into the water, and then blasts back up into the sky. Right? And you're like, that was odd. And then it shows Angelina Jolie standing there, and she's fine. And then it kind of like the camera pans around her, and it reveals a room full of Maleficents. Not like a family of Maleficents. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not multiple copies of Angelina Jolie.
Right. People that have wings, is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And like the same type of wings and like the same look about them.
Yeah.
In terms of the trailer, that's dumb. It just didn't work. I am sweating bullets having to go see this movie. I don't want to see it. I really don't. I'm going to.
You might need to have a couple of drinks before going in.
Oh, God. I might start throwing stuff at the screen.
Boo.
Aurora goes up to Maleficent, and she's trying to kind of like appeal to her nature, like, oh, please calm down, this and this. And Maleficent has her wings back, which I don't know if you really should have told us in the trailer. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But she turns around, her wings open, and she's wearing what I can only describe as like half of a Venom symbiote across her body. I'm going to see the movie because I do this show. I don't want to see it. It looks crazy.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you did see the Nutcracker movie, Bryce.
And that was bad, too.
I mean, I'm just saying, you took one for the team with just that.
Oh, yeah. No, I did. I'll see terrible movies. I really enjoy terrible movies if they are, like, so bad they're good. Like The Room, right?
Yeah, right.
But I really feel like they're trying to be like, hey, we are really powerful. We have a very poignant message that we're trying to get across. And I don't think that they're going to.
And it's that the Mistress of Evil is actually really good.
It'll be one heck of a retcon.
Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express Monorail. On behalf of the cast of the Walt Disney World Resort, we'd like to welcome you to the Magic Kingdom.
All right, Chris. Oga's Cantina out in Disneyland has been open for a little while now.
Okay.
And they have, there was a big like controversy before the park even opened, or I'm sorry, before the land even opened, that like, oh my God, you know, they have a beer flight out there that's $75.
Oh, wow.
Which that's expensive.
That is
absolutely.
Expensive.
But Oga's Cantina is supposed to be along the same lines as like something like Trader Sam's.
Right.
Where you have...
You're talking about the Star Wars.
Yes.
Okay.
Where you have different drinks.
I've seen.
But then they have specialty
I actually
mugs.
seen it. I've seen what it looks like. I think it's the one where like the shot glasses are like teeth.
Yeah, the Rancor teeth.
Rancor teeth, which is cool.
It's cool.
It's cool. The only problem that I have with it is that it's made out of what is it? That shiny material, like the tiki material that they have at Trader Sam's.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone with that. Like I would like something that looks a little bit more like a tooth. Like the shininess kind of takes it away. You know what I'm saying?
Right, especially when you look at the other two mugs that they sell, which is the Porg Cliff Dweller cup.
Yeah.
And the Yub Nub cup.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it looks like they're carved out of wood, and they are cool.
That's
looking.
the thing. The idea is awesome.
Yes.
I'm not thrilled about how they look, though. Like,
I'm not either.
Would I have gotten them if they would have looked similar to like what you were saying with the Porg and everything like that? Absolutely. Like that is cool. I would love to put that in my room.
Right.
What I saw was a bit like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was the difference between me saying yes, I'm going to buy that or not.
That's fair, but a lot of people do not share your sentiments because they're sold out.
Jeez.
Gone. And somebody, I forget who, was talking to one of the cast members, and they said, yeah, we get down to low stock, but then we can order them. They don't ever just go out entirely.
Right.
They're out entirely now.
Wow.
It's nuts. You can't get them at all. And a lot of people were really upset about the price because that, like I said, was $75. It's expensive, but if you go to Trader Sam's, you can buy a Nautilus with the drink. It's $50. The rum flight with the
little tikis.
Yeah, the tiki.
Yeah, I got that.
Did you get that?
Yeah, I did buy that.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, how much was that?
I think it was like $45, $50.
Yeah, and that's expensive still.
It's
for 4
really
shots of rum.
expensive. Especially because the 4 shots look like someone just spit into my glass.
That's disgusting.
I don't mean like legit look like spit. It was just like, because you've seen how big they are. They're like this big, like the shot glasses, and they're like this round. Like they're huge. They're big shot glass. They're really the equivalent of like 3 shots. But they filled it like less than a quarter. Like I can see through the rum to the bottom.
Really?
Yeah. Like, and I was there, it was me, Micah, Renee, and Ray Lynn. That was the night we were going to Ohana for the first time. And we went to Trader Sam's. I was so angry.
It's understandable. Because that's ridiculous.
I have the flights at my home, and I have that wonderful memory.
Right. So, even compared to Trader Sam's, yes, this is more expensive. But at the same time, if you don't want it, don't buy it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't view this any differently as like the lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
Lightsabers are $200.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think that's ridiculous. Well, then don't buy it. Like, it's very, very easy.
I think they also sell like the lesser kids versions of the lightsabers, like the build your own, more plastic type,
Right, like
for
the one
far less,
Oh yeah, like the one that you would get over at like Walmart.
Which is great because if your kids really want these lightsabers or something like that, you can't really afford it. At least Disney's looking out for you. It's not like they're making those the only ones in the park that you can have.
100% agree. 100% agree. And so when people get all up in arms about pricing, especially stuff like that, it doesn't bother me because I'm like, you have options. It's not like they're demanding you buy this. It's not like they're saying this is the only thing you can have. So whatever. And as even to that point, even more, they were saying if this is the drink that you want, if you want the Yub Nub, you got to buy the mug with it. And that was a $42 shot. Just bang. $42 for a cup and a drink.
Wow.
Now, I mean, some people, I've done that with the Ua because just the memory of that alone is worth that price tag. Yeah. But the Yub Nub, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not. But now what Disney's done is said, you know what? Fine. If you don't want to buy the mug, that's cool. $15 for the drink.
Right.
And that's very reasonable. And the Porg Cliff Dweller thing, that's not an alcoholic drink. So $6 if you want it without the mug. Cool. Like, Disney is giving you options. And I also think it might be a little bit that their stock might be kind of dwindling on those two.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, their stock might be going down, so maybe that's why they're just like, we got to sell these.
Yeah, so I don't know if it is a whole...
It's either we sell nothing or we got to get some money in.
Exactly. I don't know if it's completely nice guy Disney being nice guy Disney.
It's never nice guy Disney being nice guy Disney.
That's fair. But you know what? I don't know that they thought that this cantina would have just the numbers that it does. It is busy because it opened up and it's just, hey, man, it's just a bar.
It's just
Come
making
on,
you
walk in.
scared for down here, isn't it? It's just making you more and more terrified, isn't it?
A little bit, man, because they're like, hey, we're just a bar. Come on in, walk on in, grab a drink, relax, then be on your way. People weren't doing that.
Yeah.
So now
there's a time limit, right?
Well, no, it's not a time limit. What they were doing is, after a couple weeks of being open, they said, okay, we can't just have people come in. We need to have them do advanced reservations. And so, advanced reservation, but the same day. So, you call up at 7 o'clock, hey, I want to come in to Oga's Cantina. We have a spot at 11 o'clock tonight. I'll take it, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Now, it's not like that anymore.
Right.
2 weeks in advance. You have 2-week period to make a reservation. Like, man, it's a bar. Guys, come on, it's a bar. Trader Sam's doesn't even do... Like, I know I keep comparing it to Trader Sam's, but Trader Sam's is a
just
very
because
busy
even
place.
from the look of it, I'm sorry, Trader Sam's still seems like it's much more fun.
I kind of agree with you. I mean,
I'm just saying.
Trader Sam's would be my bar, although I do still want to go to the Beauty and the Beast bar when that opens.
Yeah, right.
And it's not just Oga's Cantina, it's Savi's Workshop. Now, Savi's Workshop is where you go to build your lightsabers.
Right.
So you have to make a reservation, at least 2 weeks out.
For a lightsaber?
To go build a lightsaber. And if you don't show, or I believe they say cancel within 24 hours, you are hit with $199 charge.
Oh my God. Jeez. So you just basically bought
the lightsaber.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also understand why they're doing that.
Yeah.
Because if they're that busy, dude, you gotta weed
people
people
out
out somehow.
People are probably coming up to those poor cast members every day going, can I get a lightsaber now? And then having to go through the spiel. 2 weeks
We have
out.
no crystals.
None.
Dude, it's gotta be nuts out there. It's gotta be nuts.
The only thing we can hope is that there is trial and error over there, and that just makes this place better over here in Orlando.
I hope so. I hope so, because they had...
You can hope.
They had time limits in place over there and stuff like that before it was really open. So I'm really hoping that they're like, okay, we can do X, but we can't do Y, and it makes everything much smoother down here.
Right.
Who knows? I hope it's good, though, because I'm going to be there. Are you coming with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
yeah you are.
I'm saying that with sadness.
You said it on the podcast, though.
Yeah, I know.
Now people know you're going.
Yeah.
You can't get out of it.
It's terrible.
All right, Chris. I got 2 more things I want to talk to you about.
All right.
Do you want to go out? Do you want to close the show on a kind of happy, stupid note? Or do you want to go and talk about that happy, stupid note now?
Let's go with the happy, stupid note now.
Okay. Me and Jamie, this past Saturday, went over to Universal and went and had a good time over there.
Right.
And I really like Universal. People give Universal a bunch of crap. They got a lot of good rides.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun.
They're a decent match for Disney, I'd say, as far as, for competing for your theme park dollar, they have a very good point.
Yes, I agree. They are competing, and it is a competition. So they are on the same level. Yeah. It's not like Disney and Busch Gardens. Busch Gardens has great rides.
Yeah.
Busch Gardens
not
is
on
not
the
Disney.
same level. No.
So,
or Universal. I'm just saying. It's not in those 2 parks.
I agree. So when me and Jamie went over there, we kept seeing mouse ears, from Disney, right? In the Universal Park.
On people or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So people were walking around wearing mouse ears. I was like, that's odd. Okay, whatever. Have fun. Jamie, though, said, there has to be some kind of brand loyalty. Like,
and she's the one still crossing over, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It was funny. So
we can have an open relationship, but I just don't want you showboating about it, okay?
So she's like, those poor workers, they have to get offended, I would think, about all these people wearing Disney products in their parks. That's insane. And I was like, they don't care. I was like, they are teenagers who work here for the summer because they need money to go out boozing at night.
All right.
That's what I said to her.
Teenagers boozing at night. Okay.
You know what happened. So, and she's like, no, I'm telling you, man, they have to feel upset. I go, fine. If you genuinely think
you
that.
ask somebody.
Let's ask that janitor right there. So I walked up to him. I said, sir, we've been seeing a lot of mouse ears around here. My wife feels like you would be offended by that. How do you feel? He goes, it doesn't bother me at all. I said, yeah, because it's crazy, right? He goes, yeah, it's ridiculous to be upset about it. I said, all right, cool, fair enough. And so then we walked on to E.T. Now, before we got on E.T., I said, sir, let me ask you a question. You see all these mouse ears around here. Do they offend you? And he goes, no, they don't offend me. We like to make fun of people who wear them because it's a little silly to wear Disney stuff to Universal and vice versa. And I say, okay, that's fair. Like, that's
that
fair
makes
statement.
Sense. Right. I probably would feel the same way.
Right, exactly. And
like, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, but I'd be like, these people are weird. But okay.
And that's my stance on it, right?
I mean, it's weird wear Mickey ears, period. But I mean, it's even more weird when going to Universal Park.
Exactly. That's my stance on it as well. It's like, it's strange, but whatever. Have fun. So, we got back on Sunday night, and Monday I was like, you know what? I wonder what people on Facebook think. And I'm in a number of different groups on Facebook and about Disney, and I'm actually in a couple about Universal as well. Right. So I posted up there, what are your guys' thoughts? I want to know, is it okay to wear mouse ears to Universal and vice versa, like the Harry Potter robes to Magic Kingdom?
Oh, Brice, what do you put think? That question out to the internet.
Dude, 500 people responded. Over 500 people. It was absurd. And I was like, when they first started coming in, they're like, just do you, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I was like, yeah, okay. Because I did read every single comment. Because I was so, I'm genuinely interested in this.
Right. And then it just started spiraling.
It started devolving very fast.
It doesn't take much.
Dude, one woman wrote in, don't you ever wear mouse ears to Universal, and God help you if I ever see you wearing Harry Potter robes in Magic Kingdom. Like, it was really great. Funny.
Then you got one dude who's just like, I love Busch Gardens. No. I hate you two other parks.
Exactly. Dude, I could not believe the number of people who said, don't do it. Like, and a lot of them were citing brand loyalty as a reason why. I know. Like, I couldn't believe it. I've grown up going to Disney, and I didn't grow up going to Universal, but the few times that I did go there, I really enjoyed it.
See, I'm the opposite. I grew up going to Busch Gardens and Universal far more than, just those were the two parks. Sure. We would drive by Disney, and the appeal to those parks was Disney's for little kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to this day, that's how Universal sells in their commercials a lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you got to grow up. This is the cool park. You know what I'm saying? So,
and to be fair, they do have very good rides.
Yes, they do.
They do.
And whatever. To each his own. Exactly. I'm just saying, like, I get what you were saying.
How do you feel about that? Like, you're just like, whatever.
I find it weird.
Yeah.
Like you're going into Universal, you're putting the conscious effort of being like, I'm going to put Mickey ears to go into Universal. I don't care what you do. Whatever. If that's what you want to do, do it.
Right.
But will I think you're a weird person? Absolutely. Like, do I look at you and go, are you normal? I'd be like, probably not.
Now,
Unless you had a really good, unless you were that person who was just like, I wanted to see, like, I can see you putting on ears just to be like, I want to know what the heck people are going to say.
Dude, somebody posted, and I loved them for this. They said, I like to wear both at the same time. I'll wear the Mickey ears and the Harry Potter robe. And I go, dude, you look like King Mickey from Kingdom Hearts.
That is great.
So let me ask you this question then. So you're like, all right, it's strange to wear mouse ears to Universal.
Right.
Now flip it. How would you feel if you saw Harry Potter robes just walking through Magic Kingdom?
Honestly, it would blend in, kind of. It would be like, okay, there's the Wicked Witch. There's, what's his name?
Gandalf?
Not Gandalf. What was the other wizard? There's a million wizards.
Sid.
Whatever. Anybody, really.
Right.
Red Skull from, whatever. Like, I mean... It can be literally anybody. It's a little bit hard. Like, the iconic ears are still... The Harry Potter robe is, I guess, iconic. I would argue the wand is more iconic.
You think
it's
so?
nowhere on the level of Mickey's ears.
Sure, that's true.
There's like the cross with Jesus.
Wow.
No, I'm saying as far as symbols, like you got. I'm saying like you got the Yankee symbol. There's like the cowboy symbol, and then there's like Mickey's ears. Like you know what I'm saying?
It's the Yankees, Dallas, Mickey, and then Jesus.
Is that what you're saying
to me?
They did this study on logos of like where in the world could you show these logos that people would be like, I got this. It was the Superman logo.
Well, yeah.
The Batman logo, obviously.
Sure.
Jesus, for some reason, the cross, everyone was just like Jesus.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about as far as symbols.
Okay.
Don't get offended, people. Talking about as far as symbolism here. And the Yankees and the Dallas Cowboys were all ranked like somewhere in the top 6, 10, somewhere like that.
Wow.
But Jesus was up there.
Jesus was up there.
But Mickey's ears was like right there. Followed by the McDonald's sign. Like,
wow.
I think the McDonald's was more popular than Jesus, actually. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like people, and that's the thing. Like, Mickey's ears is iconic. You know what I'm saying? I think it's far more recognizable, Mickey's ears, than a Harry Potter robe.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Chris. Remember, I told you we have a fairly nothing story, and then we have something else that we have to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we all know that I love Tower of Terror.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you don't love it that much, and I get that.
I don't love it as much as you.
Sure.
But... The
line can get very, very long.
Mm-hmm. I would argue that my favorite part of the ride, though, is the line. Like, really, it's fun
very
to watch,
interesting and very intriguing.
Right.
Like, there's a lot to look at.
Right.
So, the line this past weekend, I believe I read somewhere that it was upwards of 130 minutes. Like, that's a long time to wait for Tower of Terror.
Mm-hmm.
That is a long time.
Yes, it is.
Now, I don't know. You've only rode it the once, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the way that the Fast Pass is set up, when you walk in the gate, right to your right, it says the Hollywood Tower Hotel, and then it fades out. It says Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Well, you go into a gate right there. On your left is your standby line, and on your right is your Fast Pass line. Because the way this is set up, there are a number of spots in this line that you can just kind of jump over to the Fast Pass line and go,
right.
Not have an issue. Well, to kind of remedy that, Disney said, okay, we're going to put a Fast Pass checkpoint here at the front, and then right before you go into the library or the conservatory, right?
Mm. Okay.
That's where you're going to go in and watch the video. So, odds are, what happened is somebody went into this group of people from Chicago went in to the Tower of Terror line, jumped over,
mm-hmm.
and kept going
right
through the Fast Pass. So now they get to the secondary checkpoint. Oh, you don't have a Fast Pass, ma'am. You don't have a valid Fast Pass. Your group, it shouldn't be here. I don't know how you even got past the people at the front. I don't know what happened. Well, the lady from Chicago is having none of it, and the group is really having none of it. They're all just like cussing at this poor cast member. I don't know if she was the leader of the Chicago group or not, but this 23-year-old woman decided, well, if I can't ride Tower of Terror, nobody can. And now at that podium, there are a number of buttons. And she started smacking the buttons, right? Hitting all of them.
Whoa.
Now, there was a video that came out on YouTube very, very recently about the design of the Tower of Terror and how many just kind of redundancies that they put into the tower to make it safe, right? They have multiple pulleys. There's the way it's set up, it creates a pillow of air as it goes through the shaft, so it will not just crash into the bottom.
Right.
Still, going up to a ride carrying upwards of 80 people at a time and just smacking buttons, it's not very safe.
No, the science of the ride is terrifying. The fact that I found out that it doesn't just drop right away and that it rides a minute was more terrifying than the drop. Because I'm like, how is this working? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can totally see how it is going to be very complicated to run that ride.
Exactly. And it's very important that everything functions properly.
Right.
Now, the cast member who said, "Ma'am, you do not have a valid fast pass," said, "You need to stop touching buttons," and was like kind of smacking her hand away, which is appropriate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, she didn't smack the woman in the face, but she was like, "Hey, stop touching stuff. You don't know what you're doing. You could cause a meltdown and do whatever, you know?"
Yeah.
Well, the woman from Chicago was having none of that. So she said...
Having none of a lot that day.
Exactly. She's like, "Well, if I can't touch the buttons on the podium, I'm going to have to touch your face with my knuckles." And she punched this woman in the face.
Wow.
That's nuts. Okay. Tying all this back into the other show that I do, the Twilight Thoughts.
Right.
The first one that I did was about the brawl out in Disneyland.
Yeah, and this has all happened pretty close to each other then, huh?
It's within the same month. It's within the same month. And now, I did say in that, I said, I'm not saying that a fight would not happen in Walt Disney World. There are stupid people everywhere. And this is a prime example. What are you doing? Like, what is your life like that you say, you know what, I can't ride a ride, so nobody's riding a ride.
Yeah.
And just whap. Well,
do they know if there was any alcohol involved? Because that sounds like something like a group of people who probably slammed Trader Sam's and then decided, hey, you know, we're just going to be stupid. You know what I'm saying? Was there any alcohol involved, or was this lady just...
If there was going to be alcohol involved, Hollywood Studios would be a prime park for
That's what
it.
I would say.
Because Epcot, that's your main drinking park.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Outside, it would be Hollywood, right?
Exactly. Hollywood would be your next one because you have the distillery, or not the distillery, I'm sorry, the brewery.
Yeah.
You have the brewery there, you have the
Several
Brown
different
Derby.
stands, yeah.
Exactly. Now, there was no mention of alcohol in the story.
Right.
So I would be hesitant to say this is alcohol-based.
Right.
Could it have been? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course it could have been.
Yeah.
But I would be shocked if it was. I was talking to a woman on Facebook about that, and she was like, it's time to ban alcohol in the park. It's like, whoa, relax.
Calm down, lady.
Don't take my brewery away. That brewery is very good.
Please don't.
But my point is, could it have been alcohol? Sure. Might it have been? Maybe. Was it? We don't know. Because the cast member has decided not to press charges.
Wow.
I know. And that's really frustrating to me. Like that brawl that happened out in Disneyland. And if you are interested in it, I will be going back and touching on that story again in this next episode of Twilight Thoughts. Little plug.
All right.
But here, if you continue to not basically discipline your children and not press charges against people who are doing stupid, violent, criminal acts,
you're going to keep... People are going to keep thinking it's okay.
Exactly. Because they didn't press charges out in Disneyland, and they, at first, and then they didn't press charges here. Mm-hmm. Why? I'll tell you, if it wasn't for the group of the other people from Chicago, if somebody punches me in the face, I'm going to fight back, regardless of whether I'm working at Disney or not.
Right.
You know, like, hey, now you've assaulted me. Now this is just self-defense.
Right.
But, you know, with a group of people behind you, you might get jumped by them.
Right.
So I don't know, man. What are your thoughts about this? Because I think it is absolutely absurd.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy that this all happened within a couple of weeks of each other, like this is...
Yeah, because this happened
Saturday. Whether it was a month or whatever, it's still two big fights within Disney parks, which me and you, we had a couple episodes we were talking about, man, Disney just does a great job of like everything kind of works. Like, right. Yeah, we know they have hiccups, but, and I know, plugging in your show again, I know how you had a really interesting topic in talking about security and whether or not Disney has the right security and whether you said 5 minutes at the time is good enough time to get in and out. I don't know how much better you can get. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really tough. In this situation, all I can think of is that maybe they tried to pay this girl out or something like that. I don't know. Or I don't know if this was the cast member, girl or boy. You didn't say.
The cast member was a female. It was a 23-year-old woman from Chicago and a 23-year-old female cast member.
Right.
After the woman threw the punch, they left like, oh crap, we got to get out of here. And then they left.
Right.
Security did find them later.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, dropped the ban hammer, just bam.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, that could be. It's tough. You're going to press charges and stuff like that. I mean, being banned from Disney for life. Like, I mean, I hope it's a life ban.
It was a life ban, but the woman's from Chicago. How often is she flying down to Florida to go to Orlando?
You would assume, though, that's all Disney parks, right? I mean, you say that, but
Orlando.
I mean...
I'm not sure, though. I mean, who knows?
I don't know.
But you're right. Who knows? Maybe this is her second home. Like, maybe this is literally like a winter home for her. And she's like, man, I love going to Disney while I'm down there.
Right.
So maybe this does affect
her. It sounds like
more.
there's some factors in there that we clearly don't know.
Sure.
Because I think that if it was just like that video, like if it was just a straight up, like what you just described to me, absolutely press charges. Absolutely.
Right.
But there might be some factors in there that we may not know of, that this chick is aware of, maybe that Disney's kind of aware of, that they're not mentioning.
Sure.
Or this girl is just literally what the Bible says and is like, turn the other cheek, which we should applaud her for that. Like,
sure.
As a moral person, great, fantastic. But I mean, honestly, then Disney should take that out of her hands and be like, listen, you assaulted one of our people. We're coming at you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. With how many people go to Disneyland and Disney World on a daily basis, you got to keep the guests in check.
Absolutely.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. And if you are putting out and if stories are coming out like this where, hey, there's a brawl in Disneyland. Now, like I said, stuff has happened to that family, as it should.
Yeah.
And then you have...
Oh, it most definitely should.
Yes. And then you have this woman out here in Disney World. Hey, we're not going to press charges, but you get a lifetime ban. Maybe that is enough of a deterrent? Maybe.
Maybe
not. I don't know. I do know that when me and Jamie went to Universal on Saturday, there was a call had been placed that said, hey, I'm on I-4 right now, and I believe that I see a man in the parking lot with a rifle of Universal. Dude, shut him down. The parking garages got shut down, and I'll explain it real quick for those who haven't been to Universal. They don't always do this, but on Saturday, both parks closed at the same time at 10 o'clock. So then you have, your City Walk area, and then you go down a hallway where you have moving sidewalks, and then you go into this big atrium, and then you can go off into two parking garages that have 3 different sections apiece. Well, they were all closed down.
Right.
So all of these people exiting the parks at 10 o'clock now have nowhere to go. So they finally reopened the garages and let us out to our cars. Me and Jamie jumped in our car. We were immediately able to pull out, but right when we pulled out, we ended up having to stop. We pulled out, moved about 10 feet, and then sat there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Dude, it was a long time.
Yeah.
While we were out there, just kind of minding our own business, because you're in a parking garage, you can't even listen to music because you got no signal, right?
Right.
Another car is pulling up, and it looked like he wanted to merge into our car. He just wanted to become one, like a fusion in Dragon Ball Z. Just bam! Well, I rolled my window down. I'm like, yo, hey, stop. You're going to hit the car. Well, you thought I told his mother that he was a terrible person and cussed out his mother.
Yeah.
Man flew into a rage. You mother effer, you're this and that. And just, bam, slamming doors. And he was coming at us from the passenger side. So Jamie's window was down. So I rolled up Jamie's window, and he is in the window of her car, like yelling at me. And he's like, open the window, roll down the window. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Why would I do? He's like, open the door. Again, no. like even if I wanted to fight him, isn't that such a strategic disadvantage? Like,
I'm in a car.
Exactly. Oh, you want me to? Hey, here's my face. No. But my point is, dude, a person like that needs to be kept in check.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, I genuinely thought that he was going to go back because he got mad once I didn't roll down the window.
Well, at any point, that it's not even so much rolling the windows down. The minute someone gets out of a car, that's next level stuff.
I agree.
That's escalation,
I agree. And I admitted this on a podcast. Like, I have a little bit of road rage. I really do. And I think everybody does. But this had nothing to do with that. I told him, like, I was fairly polite about it. I'm like, hey, you almost hit the car, man. Just relax. So, but in any case, people's emotions are so high. And that situation on Saturday was a bad situation to begin with, because nobody wants to be sitting in a parking garage for 2 hours. Who wants to do that?
Right. So you're basically saying you would have liked to see this girl press some charges.
I do because I don't want to perpetuate that theory, that story of, hey, guest got angry at a theme park, guest lashed out, guest hurt a bunch of people, nothing happened to guest.
Yeah.
That's nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they are in a theme park and they are in a public place,
right.
But when you go out of your house and you are in a public place, you're now in a society. You know what I'm saying? There are rules that you live by, but there are also unwritten rules that you live by. Like, hey, don't go around slapping people in the mouth. What
we can hope, honestly, the biggest thing we can do is just hope that this last month has woke Disney up a little bit.
I hope so.
Because think about it. When your track record is perfect, and there have been some crazy crap that
of
Disney,
course,
with the alligator, and we had that bus incident earlier this year,
right?
The trams, sometimes doors, whatever, the doors, and the doors.
Doors are important.
But those are fairly, those are kind of out of your control.
They're
fixable.
What
I'm saying? Exactly. They're fixable. And those are sometimes usually freaks of, they just come and go,
Right.
With this, you can hope that they amp up security, for sure. And that they kind of maybe open up the playbook a little bit and change some things, and I hope so, because we're going to Disney in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're going like at hottest point in Florida.
Well, it's because we're going to Volcano Bay, baby.
Yeah, exactly. But it's, tensions are going to be up. People are going to,
exactly.
So you hope that this is something that Disney takes and they go, okay, you know what? Maybe it's time that we start looking into maybe putting a little extra more security, maybe a little more stuff in there.
Oh, yeah, man. Because just put a plainclothes security guard, on the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey.
It's tough. It's really tough, though. I get it's hard, because what threat are you going after? You know what I'm saying?
Dude, look.
Undercover, maybe like what you're saying, maybe you can have someone who's kind of like undercover walking around or.
Right. Put somebody undercover, because that is not there is somebody there who can handle a situation, but there's also not going to be the heightened stress to the guest of like, well, there's an armed guard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that would be distracting. That would take away from the magic. And if Disney's trying to prevent that, which I understand, maybe put more plainclothes security guards out there and walking around.
You got those police dudes that have the badge of a mouse. I mean, come on. I mean, those guys you can at least afford to throw out there just to have bodies, you know?
Right, but what I'm saying is even if you see that, you see the shield, you're like, oh, man, that's security.
But maybe right now that's not a bad idea.
That's true.
You know, that
hey, Disney is taking this seriously.
Right.
Disney is, pushing to protect people.
Walking past a security guard with, again, the shield of a mouse on it is not going to take away the magic from me. It's going to make me go, okay, just got to be on my best behavior. I know I am.
I feel safer.
Right. Not only do I feel safer, this person can assess whatever situation, whether it's a family that break out into a fight, whatever happens.
And see, like, I feel like if you have somebody who's maybe up to the challenge of being a security guard, like, I'm not a club goer. I don't care about clubs. I don't like that whole scene.
Right.
But if I go past a club and I see a bouncer, even if I just said this, picture a bouncer.
Mm-hmm.
What did you picture? Big guy, jacked, right?
Yeah.
Ripped. He can handle some confrontation, right?
Right.
Hire somebody like that for your security.
Right.
Hire somebody up to the task. Because in that original fight that happened out in Disneyland, I was talking to a guy on Twitter, and I was like, if anybody is familiar with Disneyland and their security, please get in contact with me because I'd love to talk to you. His name is Bill, and he was awesome. And if you're listening to this, Bill, thank you very much. Not only thank you for the information, but also thank you for the kind words. That was very, very nice of you to do. Thank you. He pointed out to me, he goes, look, man, there's actually security guard right there. And it was at the 2-minute mark. And, not to like shame anybody or anything like that, but it were a larger person. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who, like, they can't get into a fight.
Yeah.
But also, then again, it's one person, it's one security guard, and three other people.
And we don't know
brawling.
what they're being told.
Exactly.
I think what it comes down to is that I think there's a nice little happy medium. Listen, there's a bunch of space in Disney, and we don't mean just Disneyland, here, wherever. How many stands do we see that are not being used?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And you can't throw some ferns up and some trees that surround it, you know what I'm saying, that kind of block it off from, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can keep the magic, you can throw some stuff up.
I thought you wanted security guards to hide behind ferns.
No, like I'm saying you can take these little
booths and make them into security outposts, kind of.
Have some security up there, have some dudes chilling there at strategic points in the park.
Right.
Where, hey, something comes up, you can beam right there. It sounds easier than what I'm saying, but if this is becoming a problem, then I would say it's a small price to pay.
Look, Walt, when he opened Disneyland, went and watched his park, right? He walked around and watched people and realized, hey, a person will hold on to trash for 30 steps.
Mm-hmm.
And then so if you go to Disney, any of the Disney parks, I believe it's a trash can is always within 20 steps of you. I believe
right
is what it is. It's something like that, though, right?
And we got to remember why he made Disneyland, too. It was because he was like, the places that are like Disneyland, that inspired Disneyland, the fairs or whatever, they were known for people who were getting into fights and for roughhousing and all that sort of stuff, which is why he was like, I want to create Disney,
You're right. He made it as an alternative. But going back to what I was saying is, if Walt can figure out, hey, we need to put trash cans every 20 feet in order to keep our parks clean, figure out, oh, hey, if I put a security guard at, let's say, where the stoplight is, right outside the gates of Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror, if I put a guard there, he can get the Tower of Terror really quick, he can get to Rock and Roller Coaster really quick, but he's also able to get to the Brown Derby within 2 minutes.
Right.
Do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Figure it out. There is a way to figure this out. There's a reason I don't work at Disney in security because, it's not my field.
Yeah, this is a situation that's beyond us, but one that you hope that in the world that we live in at the moment, which is crazy, and people are crazy, and people are more, and it doesn't get better when you live in Florida or California where it's really hot,
right?
And you're
tired
with your family
and aggravated.
Yeah. It's like you said in your show, it's a spark that's ready to go off at any time,
Exactly.
It's temperatures, people flare. So, I mean, you hope that Disney learns from this. Should the girl press charges? Again, it's hard to say. Would I have pressed charges? Maybe. But again, it seems like Disney and maybe she is aware of something that maybe we're not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I can think of the reason why she's not. A life ban is really tough. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it's Disney.
Yeah.
Think about it. Anytime that girl is around anybody and anybody's like, yo, you want to go to Disney? I can't. I'm banned.
How did you get banned? Punched a woman in the face.
Yeah, in the face.
Was it worth it? Nah.
Then I hit a bunch of buttons on a ride.
And that's the other thing, too, man. We're not even talking about that.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Like, she could have caused all kinds of havoc and chaos with that.
Yeah, no, we see those buttons all the time, and it's like, I don't think that's controlling the ride, but like, once again, it's like things are based off signals and everything is connected. Right. Like you don't want to be screwing around with that sort of stuff. There's a reason why you don't touch that.
Especially with Tower of Terror. Like I said, like, there are a bunch of
small world, maybe,
Well, yeah,
hit all the buttons you want.
Yeah, because if a small world breaks down, what are you going to do? Sit there and float on a boat for about 20 minutes
Kids
listening?
are just terrified. It would just be, the machines start going backwards. The audio starts recording, singing backwards.
That would be creepy.
Oh, my gosh.
If I can, I'm going to put that as a little track after we say goodbye.
Yo, that would be cool. We should do that.
And that's the end for this week anyway. We want to say thank you all for listening. This is episode 38 of the Nocturnal Disney Podcast. You should be getting more consistent entertainment from us.
Yeah, you hope so.
Exactly. So that's the idea, is to get more consistency.
Yeah.
And I think going down from 4 episodes a month to 2 is really going to help us out. Not only for your schedule, but for my editing, man, because good Lord, you put out a 2.5 hour podcast.
Yeah.
That's great, but you and I recorded for 3.5 hours, and then that's 6-7 hours of editing.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
We're hoping to just keep it simple and just whatever mistakes we throw up on here, hopefully you guys can deal with it and don't be too mean. But
exactly. We're not professionals. We try, but we're not.
Also, we're going to have some reviews coming up for you guys in a couple of weeks, right? Because we're going to be going to Disney. We'll be able to eat at some restaurants and check out some different stuff and have some fresh reviews.
Exactly. We're going to be going to, not Shutters. It used to be called Shutters, but now it's called Sebastian's. Oh my God. Sebastian's. It is called Sebastian's. Jiminy Crickets.
You sound like, what's his name? Sebastian's. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about. Indiana Jones' dad.
Oh, Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. There you go.
Hey, I'll take Sean Connery, man. Yeah. Guy's smooth.
Yep.
Dude, real quick about a chef. I don't think this is happening, but somebody floated the idea of having Gordon Ramsay be the French chef from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
It'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, and it wouldn't make any sense, but because he's English, but okay.
Exactly. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, and SoundCloud. And if you did like what you heard here tonight, maybe consider giving us a like or leaving a comment. It does help us really get up through the ranks so more people can find our show, and we really do appreciate it. That being said, I actually got a couple 5-star reviews that I can read for you right now. The first one is by Holly13Hoff. Super fun listen. These guys are so fun to listen to, it makes me want to go to Disney ASAP. I'm actually going in February, so I know what I need to do. Catch up on this podcast. Good info, light, good laughs, I'm hooked. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Me and Chris try to keep it as light as we can. That way, when we do get into the heavier topics, they're not as much of a slog, So I'm glad that it's coming across. Thank you very, very much. Kiki Ryder said, love anything Disney. This is no exception. Who doesn't love Disney? Who doesn't love listening to people recapping Disney? Love the hosts. Just started listening and can't wait to keep going. They are very informed and creative. Well, thank you. That's very, very nice to hear. Sometimes I feel like the intros might be a little too much, but if people enjoy them, fantastic. Thank you so much, Kiki. I really appreciate it. And DC4545 says, light and fun. This is a very fun and laid-back show. Good chemistry and funny banter with the two hosts is very funny. Highly recommend for all Disney fans. Man, thank you so much. Sometimes you wonder, is what I'm doing working? Is the show getting out to the people who are enjoying it? And obviously from these reviews, clearly it is. Thank you so much, guys. Literally, you made my night. It really does make me so, so happy. Thank you very much. And until next time, please.
Hurry back. Hurry back. We're dying to have you.